Hi there, and welcome to Mr. Bell's Grammar Series, Volume 3, Subjects and Objects. For some of you, this will just be a quick review, and for others, it will help you establish a foundation in understanding what we're talking about when we move on to more complicated grammar ideas. It's important to remember, when we talk about grammar, we're trying to get a better understanding of how the English language is structured so we can better communicate with each other. In these early lessons, we're mostly focusing on basic definitions and functions, so that we'll have a consistent basis to build from as we move forward. So to get a better understanding of how subjects and objects work, let's get to work. Now that we have a foundation for understanding what the basic types of words are, let's start putting them together into sentences. Most sentences have a very basic structure to them. We'll look at more complicated ways of putting sentences together later, but for now, we'll start with the basic building blocks. Before we get started, let's quickly refresh some key points we'll need to have in mind for this lesson to be useful. We have 4 basic types of words: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Remember, nouns identify a person, place, thing, or idea. Verbs identify an action. Adverbs add information to a verb, and adjectives add information to a noun. For our purposes, for now, we'll treat pronouns just like nouns. They have the same basic function in the sentence, and there's no need to go into more complex analysis here. Just remember that they are technically distinct from nouns, so you don't get confused when you come back to them later. A preposition is a word or phrase that modifies a noun or pronoun, indicating a positional relationship to another word or phrase in the sentence. Usually, this indicates a directional or physical relationship of position or distance, above, below, far away from, close to, and so on, but it can also indicate a relationship based in time, before, after, during, and so forth. I tend to get mixed up between prepositions and predicates since they both start with the same sounds, but an easy way to remember the difference is that position is right there in the word for prepositions. In most ways, prepositions function like adjectives and adverbs in the sentence, depending on how they're being used. That will come in handy when we get to subjects, objects, and predicates later on. Finally, we've gotten to the subject of our video. In common usage, the subject is what something is about. In a sentence, the definition is a little more narrow. In grammar, the subject of a sentence is the part of the sentence that is performing the action. You'll often hear teachers ask who or what is doing the verb when trying to get students to identify the subject of a sentence. First, the subject in a sentence is almost always going to be a noun or noun phrase. There are some special cases where verbs get used as nouns in the sentence, but we're not going to worry about that for now. Look at the sentences below. I've underlined the subject in each sentence. What are the verbs that the subjects are doing? If the subject is the thing that is doing the verb in a sentence, the object is what is being verbed. What blows me away is that that last sentence was grammatically correct. Our technical definition of an object is that the object of a sentence is the noun or noun phrase that is affected by the verb. There are 3 different types of objects: direct, indirect, and the object of a preposition. A direct object is the specific result or target of an action. I like to say that it is directly connected to the verb. In this example, we're looking at Amy, who built a house. To make the house the direct object in our sentence, we would say Amy built a house. The house is directly affected by the act of building. To make the house the indirect object, we could say that Amy built a porch for the house. In this case, the direct focus of the building is the porch, and the house is receiving a porch. Here, the porch is the direct object, and the house is the indirect object. The object of a preposition is an object that is being modified by a preposition. So if I were to say that Amy worked behind the house, behind indicates that Amy is working in a specific positional relationship to the house, and the house becomes an object of the preposition. The examples we've been giving so far have been deliberately simple, but we just spent a whole lesson on how to add adjectives and adverbs into our sentence, so let's take a look at sentences that have a little bit more meat on their bones. So far, I've been presenting sentences that only have a simple subject and object. However, if we were to add some modifying terms in there, the situation gets more complex. In our first sentence, which is the subject, the fat lazy cat or just the cat? The answer is that they both are. The cat all by itself is the simple subject. If I were to try to simplify the sentence, the cat is the noun at the core of the meaning. However, fat and lazy are also terms that inform my understanding of the cat, so I can include them as part of my subject. These terms together, the fat lazy cat, form the complete subject. Objects work in a similar fashion. In our second sentence set, you see a similar setup. Here, the simple object is the term school, and the complex object is the school near her house. When you're trying to identify the simple subject and simple object, remember that it's the word at the core of the idea being described. The most common sentence structure in English is the SVO, or subject-verb-object. While there are a whole bunch of ways to put a sentence together, for now let's focus on the basics. English likes to put the subject of a sentence first, followed by the verb, then the object. All the sentences we've looked at so far in this lesson are structured this way. Take a look at the sentences below and look at how they break down. When you change the order of the words without making any other changes, you can change the meaning of the sentence. Consider the difference between Natalia ate a burrito and a burrito ate Natalia. The exact same words in a different order can spell either a happy lunch or a horror movie setup. Make sure when you're writing a sentence that you are clear about what is doing the action and what is receiving the action. Another way of looking at our sentences is to combine the verb and the object into what's called the predicate. The predicate is the part of the sentence that contains the verb and the object. Some sentences are written without an object, in which case the verb alone makes up the entire predicate. I took our same sentences from before and re-diagrammed them to show the subject and the predicate. As you can see, the predicate in these sentences is just the verb and the object combined. In these simple sentences, a subject and predicate is all that is required for the sentence to be complete. We'll look at more complex sentence structures in Lesson 6. Take a few minutes to look at the sentences below. Can you identify the subject, verb, object, and predicate in each one? So, to review, a preposition is a word or phrase that modifies a noun or pronoun indicating a positional relationship to another word or phrase in the sentence. The subject of a sentence is the part of the sentence that is performing the action. The object of a sentence is the part of the sentence that is affected by the verb. And the predicate is the part of the sentence that contains the verb and the object if the sentence has an object. Having a good understanding of basic grammar functions will help you improve your ability to pull meaning from any text. When you get comfortable with seeing language as something with structure and learn how that structure works, you will see your learning grow. Next lesson, we'll start looking at how subjects and predicates work together to form clauses. Class dismissed.